Eternals Thanos Rises, issue 1. This is the first Eternals comic that I've ever read, and it wasn't bad. We'll dive into it in a second. But what I like about this and what sort of made me want to get this pack was this Walmart exclusive cover. So what do I mean by that? I made a short a while back of some comics I got at Walmart. Head over to your trading card area, and I don't know if they'll still be there, but I'm fingers crossed for y'all. But they're doing 7 Marvel comics for $10. Oh hell, why not? Cracked it open, and I got some really good books in the mix. I made a short. Check it out. So with that said, let's dive in. If you want to know what's kind of going on in this book, go ahead and pause and check out the readout. This is Sins of the Suns. Kieron Gillian, I think is how you pronounce his name. Dustin Weaver, art. Color artist is Matthew Wilson. Letterer and designer V.C. Clayton Cowles, and then there's everyone else working on the cover. And that's just nice cover. Anyway, moving on. I like this dynamic panel. And again, why I said this feels like a New Gods is the Eternals are sort of the equivalent. But even the artwork just reminds me of so much Kirbyisms in this. All the dynamicness, the separations where you just see the white lines to kind of show how things are progressing. And then they put this very colorful bird right in the foreground, and it draws your attention. The one thing that I will say on the letterer's side is blue and black was not a great color choice. I kind of feel like maybe yellow or a bright green, but that dark blue was a pain in the ass to read sometimes. So 200,000 years ago was a quiet time. Except when it wasn't. And I love this splash page. This says the last battle preceding the Titan Schism before the Accord. Again, never read Eternal, so I don't know what any of that means. So if you guys want to bring me up to speed down in the comments, please do so. Gorgeous friggin' artwork. Look how dynamic this is. There's no flatness to this. I mean, look at how got a T-Rex and then we got people flying in and battle starts. Love it. The one thing that I will say though, when I cracked this open and I saw this, immediately my mind thought, harness the power, Dino Riders. Yeah, so I had to get over the good chuckle with that. But this is how you comic, man. You open up, boom, steaks in your face. That would be a good restaurant, steaks in your face. Anyway, that New York trip's kind of got me just thinking outside the box, I guess. Now, this book felt a little wordy. This, to me, kind of felt like something you'd read from Jonathan Hickman, particularly like House of X and Powers of 10, where you get all the Krakoan stuff. I don't miss it. But anyway, I like this from the point of if you've never read an Eternals comic, you at least get an idea of what all this means. So we're kind of basing everything here on the Titan Schism. I don't know what that means. We'll read about that in a second. I did look this up on the Marvel Wiki fan page, and they said that this book retconned a lot of stuff from back in the day. So, comics, and we all get kind of tired of that, but there's decades upon decades upon decades, and they're too afraid to try to create something new and retire stuff. And that's what I think a lot of us liked about Claremont's era of X-Men, is he was trying to constantly evolve them and swap teams out until they wanted to go back to the status quos in the early 90s. So anyway, what are we talking about with the Titan Schism? Eternals often exist in families. However, these are created families made in one breath. There is no act of sex that led to the creation of any eternal mother, father, sons, sisters, are all but designations. Eternals are capable of breeding with other species, sometimes producing enhanced offspring with extended lives. However, these Nephilites are not part of the Great Machine and so are not true Eternals. I don't know what a Great Machine is. Alars, later Mentor, headed a faction that argued that Eternals should try to expand the machine by discovering a means of true eternal reproduction. Zuras headed a faction that argued in favor of the status quo. The arguments escalated into war. So now we kind of get an idea of what the Titan Schism was. And then there's other parts, which I don't know if this is a continuing thing or if this was a one-shot. If you all know, let me know. But anyway, look at this artwork here. This reminds me so much of Kirby. It's ridiculous. Now, pay attention to the background. When I went over Bad Ink Studios Interdimensional, I follow him on TikTok, or the creative team. So make sure to follow him over on TikTok, and they talk about the use of coloring and a lot about lettering. But he talks about how kind of lightning things like this brings more about what you're looking at in the foreground. And Kirby was very much about this. And there's just enough detail, because that was one thing he was also known for. But just beautiful paneling all around. Again, I have no idea who these characters are. This is Icarus. And we're kind of opening up in the middle of the war between these two factions with Alars and Zuros. And I'm trying to say these names so I can remember for you guys. But this character says that he's on one of the faction sides, and he's coming to speak to Alars. Names. And saying that their mother wants to put the end to these two's bloodied war. So she brings them to this plane. And again, this just reminds me of something you'd see in New Gods. I mean, just if you kind of close your minds and think about it, you can see like the All-Father, or in this case it'd be the All-Mother, and then you'd see like on one side Orion or All-Father, and then you would see Apocalypse, or what's his son's name? I can't remember Apocalypse's son's name off the top of my head. But you get the idea. And the colors. I mean, just look at the color palette. All these oranges, purples, reds. I like when a colorist can look at what the penciler and the inker has done and try to enhance and continue to tell the story with the colors. And so these two are on this plane. Mother wants to put an end to these two bickering. He's like, to think that eternal families should be like mortal families, and an error, and you know it. And I say we have no idea what we could be. Enough. I know how this one goes. It escalates in the war. The arguments are old. No need to repeat them. We all know them well. And then again, some more reading. A brief introduction to key arguments in the Thanos schism. So if you guys want to read about this, pause that. Pause that. Pause that. Lots of fracking reading. It's just... What kind of saved it for me is I like the concept and then the artwork. My God, this would be like something you'd see again. Kirbyisms or like Heavy Metal Magazine. And then just the color. Oh my God, the color choices are absolutely gorgeous. And this All-Mother, I don't remember what her name is, so that's her designation. We suggest we end this prior conflicts. The majority of Eternals will have their memories removed. All grudges must be forgotten. In exchange, you, Alars, have a lifetime in exile to see whether Eternals can spawn a lineage. And so everyone that we just saw is basically reset. And these two that were on different factions, I'm glad for the reset. I suspect that I was turning a teensy bit bitter. What side do you think we were on? Hey, here's a weird idea. What if we were on opposite sides? The idea of us two waging war upon one another revolts me. So I just love this just random snap. And we see that these two are allies now. So while everyone gets to live in peace, Alars has to go into exile. And he meets another one in this on the planet Titan. I'm going to assume this is Suzanne, because it's not Susan or Susanna. So Susan. And he finds her. He goes, "Why are you here?" Not Alars, Mentor. I am starting a new endeavor, so I need a new name for it. I come in hope of finding a fellow exile. Why are you here? And just the artwork. Gorgeous, gorgeous penciling. Do not mock my fallen state. You know why I'm here. Perhaps, and he's talking about how he wants to try to figure out if Eternals can populate. You've come here to seduce me. And I just love how she kind of laughs and goes, perhaps, eventually. I come to you because I see a proud Eternal who has lived in her ruins for too long. I think she would want a future. I think her like Titan. It's a little weird. But anyway. So it shows how these two finally fall in love, are essentially, in a way, married. Again, beautiful, cosmic artwork. The palette choices just add, especially after we see them initially when they meet in these ruins, how everything's kind of more darkish orange and hellscape reds and yellows, to when they fall in love, to more somber lighting, and then to what they birth. Now, spoilers here. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled, go get this book, come back. And you're back. What the big shocker of this book is we find out that these two, Suzanne and Alars, they are the parents of the Mad Titan, Thanos. And so when they're talking here, it says, I want to call him Eros for our love. My thoughts went on similar lines. I wanted to call the boy Thanos, our triumph over death. I love it. She did not love it at all. And Thanos did not love her. When the boy's nature became undeniable, Mentor took it badly. He returned their wedding rings. Kronos said that they would oppose Thanos always, as if opposition matters in the slightest. And what I love about this particular book is you don't really see Thanos at all. You just get glimpses of what the Mad Titan is and what he is capable of, and how these two cannot die, even though Thanos has tried to murder his parents. It's just one of those mad, crazy books. And you have to make sure that you're reading. Like when I first initially read this, I was half asleep. So I had to kind of stop, shake the cobwebs out. So yeah, if you want a book that has this very cosmic adventure with this sort of slaughterhouse horror mixed in with it, highly recommend this book. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. I mean, minus the diagrams and stuff, that gets to be a little much, but at least, again, if none of us have ever read a Turtles comic, which I've never met anyone that's read an Turtles comic, it gives you enough information, and I appreciate it for that. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is you'd like to get your action figures and comics, and grab this book. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a minute to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Titan bell next subscribe, that way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or the socials, which I'll make sure there are links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.